Yeah, of course.
Of course, they're gonna try to take advantage of the situation. If it went the other way around, she says, "I want $1 million," and he just says, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll do it." I'm sure they would have flipped it that way too.
Right, and it wouldn't have been a story.
Oh, it would not have even been close to the story.
No.
He would have been like, "You go, girl."
Yeah, of course.
You get it.
Yeah, motherfucker. We're gonna take it up a few notches right now. See if y'all can keep up.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of the ScruffCast. I'm Dan,
And I'm John.
and today you're all in for a treat because the ScruffCast will be doing the Tide Pod Challenge.
The Tide Pod Challenge.
No, we're just kidding. We're not going to be doing that.
Yeah, according to Gronk. No.
Yeah,
no.
I know. I heard about that. How he had to team up with Tide to to release a video saying "What are you guys doing? Stop eating these Tide
Yeah,
Pods."
it's like, should you eat Tide Pods? No.
Is that what it
Should
was?
you use it for anything other than laundry? No.
I didn't even watch it.
Yeah,
But
it was like a 30-second clip
just
on
thought
Twitter.
the whole thing was
and I'm
funny.
like, maybe he's a rich guy. He just wants to save all the Tide Pods for himself,
I know,
right?
He wants the cleanest clothes possible.
All right. Well, just in case anybody out there doesn't understand, obviously you're not supposed to eat Tide Pods.
Yeah, but I think everybody knows that.
Hopefully, if not, then
Apparently not,
you
because
won't-
it's become an issue.
you won't be around for the next episode.
Yeah.
right.
Anyway,
So if I understand, Dan, you're fired up this week.
I am
They're not about Tide Pods.
not about Tide Pods. No,
Why?
I'm fired up about, and you know what? No, because people say fired up now is a positive thing. Oh, I'm fired up about that. So I'm angry at Ticketmaster.
Ooh.
Ticketmaster, and this happens. This has happened to me multiple times. This isn't the first time this has happened, but now I'm getting real pissed about it. So I don't know if this is just I'm pretty sure there's a problem everywhere, this issue, right? So anyway, I went to buy tickets last week for Justin Timberlake concert. It's coming to Toronto on March 13th. So tickets went on sale it was last Tuesday at 10 a.m. So I got up. I got right on the computer and waited for the tickets to come on sale. And so I get on the computer, and I'm refreshing till 10 o'clock comes. So 10 o'clock hits, and so I refresh it, and it says, "Oh, tickets still not available, but please go to our resale tickets that people have already purchased from pre-sales and whatnot." So I was like, no, come on, just give me the tickets I can buy. So I keep clicking. Thing's not refreshing, over and over. It keeps telling me, no, sorry, not available yet. So finally, 6 minutes in, so it's 10:06 at this point, it finally lets me buy the tickets. So I go, okay, perfect. Gonna get a ticket for me, ticket for my fiance. And I click it, no tickets available. So all the tickets are now gone in that 6-minute gap that I missed out on.
Yeah.
So I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then, of course, again, it redirects you to the resale tickets, which are double the price of face value.
Yeah.
And this is so frustrating because this isn't the first time this has happened to me. It's happened to me buying other tickets as well. And you always have to go to secondary sites like StubHub, or now Ticketmaster does resale tickets on there too, right? It's this whole thing's just a scam. And apparently, they say, bots are buying up all these things. Oh, well, we've put all these rules in place so bots can't buy them. Well, people are still buying huge chunks of these tickets and then just reselling them at a higher price.
Oh, yeah. If you had a bot that could reliably do this, let's say you even bought 10 tickets,
Yeah.
right? The tickets are $100 a piece. And you resell them for double the price, $200. Mm-hmm. That's $1,000.
I know.
Just for practically no work. You're obviously taking the risk of buying the tickets up front and hoping you can sell them for a higher price. But in the worst case, I think you could just resell them for face value. You lose no money. So there's no harm in these people doing this.
No, yeah, it's never going to go under face value.
And I'm not sure if it's actually illegal or not.
I don't it. Doesn't seem like it is because it keeps happening.
You would almost think it would be, but from Ticketmaster's point of view, why would they care? They're still selling the tickets. They don't care if it's somebody who's going to resell it,
yeah,
or if it's somebody like you, a fan that actually wants to just get the ticket.
The whole thing is so frustrating because you end up paying so much money extra for the concert you want to see, and for seeing smaller acts or people that aren't as popular, it's not a big deal. But to see Justin Timberlake, boom, tickets are gone instantly.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? And the Air Canada Center holds 20,000 people, let's say.
Yeah.
Boom, gone. And he ended up adding a second show. So that's the demand for tickets was obviously so high. He had to add a second show afterwards, which go on sale tomorrow which of course, I guess it won't be tomorrow once we release this podcast, but as we're recording it,
It will
it's
have
tomorrow.
already happened.
Yeah, it will have already happened. And then I'll probably complain on the next podcast about how I couldn't get tickets again, because of course I'm going to try again, because I'm a sucker.
Hashtag ticket watch.
Hashtag ticket watch. I like that. But it drives me freaking insane, man. The same thing happened in the summer. I went to buy Metallica tickets, and it was at the Rogers Center where like the Toronto Blue Jays play. It's like 60,000 people.
Yeah, it's a big stadium.
And how does it sell out in a matter of minutes? Like, it makes no sense to me. I ended up paying like, oh my God, it was double. I paid double, easily double what the ticket was worth.
You had to go through a reseller in that case?
I had to go through StubHub. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I don't know. Something's got to be done about this. I don't know what to do. I don't have the answer. But somebody smarter and more intelligent should figure something out.
Exactly. I don't think it's a problem to say, hey, this is a problem, and I don't know the answer, but somebody smart has got to figure it out.
Somebody else figure it out.
Right?
I'm just telling you there's a problem.
And I think if you're TicketMaster, it's not really lighting a fire under your ass to solve this problem because you're like, the tickets are selling. The shame, though, is like all that money left on the table isn't going to Ticketmaster or isn't even going to like Justin Timberlake or somebody like that. It's going to these people who just buy the tickets and then sell them.
Yeah.
You see the same sort of thing with like different like electronics when they come out, like specifically Nintendo products, right?
Right.
Like they release their Super Nintendo Classic Edition, right? People go and they buy them all up, right? I was lucky enough to like scoop one pre-order, right, by refreshing.
Yeah, yeah.
Right when it hit like 10 o'clock that day or whatever it was. I managed to nab one for myself, but some people out there managed to get like 10, right? And the thing sold for like $100 Canadian here.
And they'll jack the price up.
Yeah, they'll jack up the price. And then right away, that's just like free money because people out there
I get the whole supply and demand thing, you know? I do.
I've seen arguments online of people being like, well, it's a scalper. I'm providing a service, right? I'm giving this Super Nintendo a good home, and I'm making sure it doesn't go to somebody else. And it's like, it's not a puppy. Like, come on.
Exactly.
It is ridiculous. Like, I always wondered how the people scalping tickets right outside of the games would get the tickets, right?
Yeah, I know.
Because scalping tickets like that is illegal.
Yeah,
right?
That's illegal. So why isn't online scalping illegal?
I feel like it might be, but it's hard to stop.
But they got websites like StubHub up. I guess like it's not like StubHub is buying the tickets. Like the main point of StubHub is it's a source for people who bought tickets and now I can't go or something. I want to resell these tickets. It's so they can resell it.
Yeah, you don't want it to go to waste.
But people are taking advantage of the website and just buying up a ton of tickets, boom, throwing them on there, selling them. And for something that's in such high demand, like people want to see Justin Timberlake, you know what I mean? All of a sudden the price skyrockets. You can charge whatever you want.
And I think Ticketmaster knows this, and that's why now they let people resell through them. They're trying to cut out these middlemen like StubHub.
Exactly. So they're starting their own reselling.
Yeah. Like a business like StubHub comes up because sites like Ticketmaster fail to stop these bots and stuff like this, right? So Ticketmaster's like, let's cut out the middleman, right? Because StubHub's obviously taking a fee on all these tickets.
Yeah.
Let's take out the middleman. Let's make that money for ourselves. So now if they have bots infesting the site and buying, hundreds of tickets, that profit just goes back to them because
they don't care at all.
They sold a ticket originally, and now they're going to take a cut for the people reselling the ticket. So they're making extra money on these tickets.
Exactly. So they're essentially, I'm assuming this. I don't know if this is how it works, but assuming they're making a cut off the original ticket. So like they provide a service to the artist, or whatever sports team, whatever it is, to sell their tickets. So they take I'm sure a small percentage of that. And then when these tickets get resold, they take a percentage of that again. So they're doubling up on it. So why would they ever want to stop it?
Exactly.
They want to encourage this, if anything, because they're going to just keep making more money.
Yeah, the only harm is that it pisses off people like you. People are like legitimately trying to buy tickets.
But
they
you know
don't
what?
care.
It's not going to stop.
Right?
And let's say everybody just decided, like, you know what? Enough's enough. We're not buying resold tickets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not doing it. Everybody banded together and decided that we weren't going to do it. The problem still is, though, is like, okay, the tickets drop back down to face value or maybe $10 over face value. As soon as it gets that low, somebody's going to be boop and swoop in there and do it. You know what I mean?
And sell it for 20 over face value instead.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So it's
I got my tickets, and then it just restarts all over again, right?
Yeah, it's
I don't know. Oh my God, it's so frustrating. 'Cause I love going to see like concerts. I love it. It's like one of my favorite things to do. Go see live shows, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And it drives me insane that it's so damn expensive. You know what? If Justin Timberlake's selling his tickets for $120 for a seat, I don't mind paying that. That's fine. He puts on a good show, good music. I'm in. But I can't stand somebody who just was able to get on there quicker than I was, them also making another $120 on top of that.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather just give that whole $240 to Justin Timberlake. Yeah, I'd rather do that.
It's predatory, right? Like the only purpose for them buying the ticket is to skim some money away, right? Maybe they don't even actually want to go see the show. Sometimes people will like buy multiple tickets so that they could sell the extra ones to cover the cost of their own, which is still kind of
that's actually a pretty good idea,
right? But it's a little more acceptable than the people just using bots to buy them up just for the purpose of making money. Because if you had a bot that could buy 10 tickets per show, right? For every show, because if you think of like one stadium, right? Like the Air Canada Centre in this case, they have shows every week. So if you could be doing this and make a couple $100, $1,000 a week, you can make a living just having your bot buy and resell tickets. Yeah, it's insane.
No, exactly. For sporting events too, especially come like playoffs for any sport, right? Like
I've been seeing stuff about the Super Bowl, right? Because it's in Minnesota this year, and the Minnesota Vikings are in the playoffs. Yeah. At the time this podcast released, they might have won already,
or they might be out of the
Super
playoffs.
Bowl, or they might be eliminated. We'll see. But I was seeing that the cheapest ticket prices going for the Super Bowl are $4,400.
Oh my god!
US. So that's closer to like 5,000, like 5,500 Canadian.
Yeah.
And the insane thing is, I was reading on Twitter. Somebody I follow is a big Minnesota Vikings fan, and you got to take the gamble, because if Minnesota wins, the tickets are going to shoot up in price
because it's home team,
right? Because it's the home team, the first time an NFL team has ever been.
There you go.
When they hosted
happened. I think in the Super Bowl era, right?
I'm not 100% sure.
I thought that's what it was.
But
doesn't matter.
But there's been about 50 Super Bowls or so, and they've never had the team that's hosting the Super Bowl actually be, or the city that's hosting the Super Bowl actually have their team in there. Right?
Which I find insane that that's never happened before.
Yeah,
50 years or what? I think it's over 50 now.
I almost think because you have, like, in the last 20 years or so, these certain teams that have been like really dominant, like the New England Patriots. Like, they've never got the chance to host it, or maybe they did, but they didn't happen to make it that year. I haven't followed too closely over the last little while.
I don't know. Well, I've been watching the Super Bowl for a while now. I'd say like at least 10 years that I've actually watched every single Super Bowl, and I can't remember the last time it was that the Patriots were hosting it.
But back to the whole thing about the tickets is, let's say you're a Vikings fan, right? And you're like, okay, I really want to go to the Super Bowl. This is going to be insane. Like, my team going to the Super Bowl in the city, like they're hosting it. This has never been done before. You want to buy the ticket, right? They haven't played yet in this hypothetical scenario. By the time the podcast released, they'll have already played. So you're like, okay, my team hasn't played yet. I really want to go see them if they make it to the Super Bowl. So you buy the tickets, and you just got to hope they win. Because if they don't, then the price will go down. And now you're losing money. Right? If you wait because you don't want to take the risk and you don't buy the tickets, then if they win, the price is going to shoot up.
Yeah.
Right? And like $4,400 for a ticket is insane. Because if you think of it from the perspective of the stadium or the team owner or the team themselves, they're not providing you $4,400 worth of like
entertainment or
service or like expenses they got to pay, right?
No.
You're literally just, they're giving you access to that seat, which the seat's already built, the seat's already there. The only expense is that somebody else can't sit there. Which is really it, right? So it is insane.
Because once you're in there, you got to pay for everything else too. You want food, you got to pay for it. You want beer, you got to pay for it.
Yeah, you got to pay for parking. My stepdad was telling me that the Dallas Cowboys, they have a really nice stadium they built a couple years back, I think.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of far away from like the downtown core. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, really?
So that if you go there, you got to pay $100 for parking.
No.
Yeah, because it's like a 5-kilometer walk, right? If you were to park somewhere else where it's cheaper.
Oh my god.
So you're just hosed. You have nowhere to go.
$100?
Yeah. That's what he was telling me. If there's anybody who's actually like from Dallas that ever listened to this podcast, you can email us and let us know.
Yeah, because that's insane. Yeah. Like, I know parking in cities and stuff or at arenas, I know it's expensive, but like, that's nuts. $100
because they have your hose. Like,
Jerry Jones, man, just hosing down his fans.
It's insane. Well, they got to pay for that big ass scoreboard they built. Right?
I know, eh?
But it kind of is similar to the ticket thing. It all comes down to when there's no competition, right?
Yeah.
Ticketmaster can just charge whatever they want for these tickets. Or, well, they can't charge whatever they want for the tickets because it kind of has to go in relation to the artist or the sports teams. But they can charge all these absurd convenience fees and stuff like that. What's the convenience? I have to refresh the page and get scammed? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they can charge any sort of these convenience fees, in air quotes, convenience fees. And there's not really much you can do about it because your choices are either I got to buy it through Ticketmaster or I have to wait till they're already purchased and then rebuy it from somebody else for even more money.
Exactly.
In which case, Ticketmaster, if it's being resold through them, will take another little fee.
Yeah, what the hell is a service fee?
Yeah.
You know?
If you have multiple
what
tickets,
is that? It's like $8, $7.95 or something like
Right.
that per ticket. It's not like on your whole order.
Yeah, and nobody goes to a show by themselves.
No.
You bring one other person, that's $16.
Then again, you did buy to see Deadmau5. You bought a ticket just for yourself.
Yes, I was going to go by myself, actually, because I didn't know anybody else who's a fan. And he was going to have a show here in Toronto, and then, unfortunately, there was issues with the venue. So then they just refunded all the tickets, and it hasn't been rescheduled yet.
Yeah,
But he's from Ontario, so he lives in the Toronto area, so I'm sure he'll reschedule it soon enough, and he was probably bummed about it. Not only from, like, missing out on all this money, but also, I'm sure he'd like to put on a show in his hometown.
Yeah.
But in most cases, many people don't go to shows by themselves.
In most cases.
Most people.
Unless you're John.
Unless you're me. You're just that cool. You don't need friends.
Yeah, I suppose so.
All right. Well, Ticketmaster, they're taking too much of our time. I'm tired of talking about them.
All right. Moving right
on.
along here.
So from talking about a problem with big corporations, let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum, right down to the youth of today.
Okay.
Right, to today's children. So we've tackled a lot of tough topics on this podcast, right? And today we're going to talk about the problem with the education system. And I've got a perfect first-hand example.
Okay, well, we're going to do our best.
Well, like we said before, these are problems we don't know how to solve, but people out there smarter have to hopefully eventually listen to the podcast.
That's what this podcast is all about. We just point out problems we don't know how to fix.
Exactly.
It's just a plea for help.
Exactly. We're like, hey, this is a problem. Come solve it.
Okay, so explain this story, John.
All right, so my younger brother, he's 12 years old. He's in the 7th grade right now. And he's going to school, and they have to do these self-assessments every week. So there's a bunch of different topics that they'll have to grade themselves in from 1 to 5, 1 being poorly, 5 being they did a really good job in this different topic. And the things are like bringing materials into school, and self-initiative, off-task talking, right? So if you're kind of a chatty Cathy over here and you're distracting the other students, right? Yeah. So I got to fill these in every week, and there's a couple questions, right? So the students have to rank themselves from 1 to 5, and then they have to answer a couple of longer questions. So the first one is things I did really well this week were, and then they put in the topic that they chose. So in my brother's case, he put bringing materials, which is basically I didn't forget stuff at home, right?
Right. I brought my crayons.
I got to give it to
he's
him.
A little older than that, but
I got to give him some credit on that one. They're giving him a softball question. He's doing exactly what I would have done.
Yeah.
Give it a nice, easy answer.
Yes.
The second one, things I need to study or work harder on are, and then he puts one he rated himself lower in.
Okay. Also, I'm going to stop you real quick.
Yeah.
We have a picture of this sheet of paper that he's talking about. We could post it to the Twitter, actually.
Yes,
that's
we'll
post it up there so other people can see too.
Yep. So if you want to see it or you're not following us on Twitter, you can follow us at ScruffCast, SCRUFF And if you have any sort of feedback or questions you want us to answer on air or anything like that, you can email us as well at scruffcast@gmail.com.
But yeah, so we'll post this up there because I think it's funny, but
it's a sight to behold. So he has to answer a couple questions, right? Things you did really well, we're bringing materials. Things I need to study or work harder on are off-task talking, right? It's kind of like the class clown.
Yeah, not being distracting.
Right, but I mean, what kid isn't, right? But this is where it gets particularly spicy, right? Now imagine that, the chef's kiss, if you will. Any other stuff you want to share? My brother writes, nah, fam. On his self-assessment to his teacher. Nah, fam. Like, what are you thinking?
Okay, before we get into any of the teachers' comments, I want to talk about this because I think that's funny. And you know what? I think doing a weekly self-assessment for a 12-year-old is ridiculous. And you know what? If I had to do a weekly self-assessment now, I would write the same thing. Nah, fam, just as a joke, because it's stupid. What is... Oh, let me do a weekly self-assessment. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, we never had to do that. We never did weekly self-assessments.
Things are
Ridiculous.
way different. Things are way different for the kids now than when we were
Like,
kids. But
what? Okay, so anyway, the comment that the teacher writes. So she points a little arrow to the nah fam that he wrote, and she says, "This tells me you do not take your self-assessment seriously." Well, obviously, because it's a stupid self-assessment.
Yeah,
and he's 12 years old. What does she think he's gonna write?
like when I looked at the breakdown of the actual rankings, the lowest he gave himself was a 3, which was in like off-task talking. So
Right.
no kid's gonna give himself a 1.
No,
he's gonna be
no
thinking
way.
like, for 1, I got to be like getting up and smacking the teacher in the face, right? No, I'm okay. I'm a 3. A little distracting, whatever. Then there's an area for teacher comments, and here's her takedown of my brother. She says, "Off-task talking is an issue I would like to see you continuously working on. There are members of your group who are unhappy at where they are sitting because of the distracting behavior, disrupting class time. Please respect their work ethic and work on this aspect of your self-regulation." And then a little signature like,
And that's that's kind of a low blow.
it is kind of.
Like, that's salty. This woman just does not like your brother. I think that's what this comes down to at the end of the day.
But maybe he's also like a total douche at
He
school.
could be
I
a
have
total
no
shithead.
idea.
Who knows? But like, well, I can't imagine it's that bad though.
I don't know. And then there's an area for parent comments, and they left that empty because my mom's like, "What the hell's this crap?" Right?
Parent comments, yeah. Now I gotta fill. Your
Right.
parents gotta do the homework too.
Right, and then they just get a little mad at my brother. They're like, "Dude, come on." My whole take on it was, I agree that, the whole idea of the self-assessment's kind of ridiculous, but I also think, like, my brother knows better than to put, "Nah, fam." What does he really think? The teacher's going to read it and go, "Oh, that kid, he's so funny."
Yeah,
Definitely not.
I get that, but I just think the whole self-assessment thing is stupid. And he's 12 years old. He's just a kid, so like, of course he's gonna put something stupid to try to make his friends laugh or whatever, right? For the teacher to think that he's actually gonna take this seriously is pretty crazy. I
Yeah,
don't know.
like, was she writing to 20 of the 30 kids in class with similar comments?
Probably, because I'm sure all the kids wrote
How do
stupid
they really
stuff.
take it seriously? It is ridiculous. But I think back to when we were in elementary school. One specific instance that stands out to me of me being sort of a shithead at school was we had a supply teacher. And I was turned around. I was talking to the kid behind me. And she goes, "Boy, are you ever going to do your work?" And I turn around.
Was she Jamaican?
She was. I was going to go into the accent, and I actually scaled it back. I was like, let's keep it kosher. Family-friendly podcast.
You should have done it.
And I turn around and I go, "Eventually." And turn back to the kid. Like some little smug douche. What was I thinking?
Yeah, you should have got a swift backhand for that
Yeah,
one.
if I was the teacher, I would have been like, "Whoosh." You can't do stuff like that nowadays.
No, you can't. You couldn't do it then either, but...
There's a lot of stuff you can't do nowadays. Like, I really feel like elementary schools are sort of sheltering children. So
Yeah.
my brother got a progress report, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought it was his report card. So when we were kids, you'd get like, A, B, C, plus or minus, whatever.
Yeah.
And then once you hit grade 7 and 8, your marks were like the numbers, right?
Percentages,
Like your average,
wasn't it?
your
Yeah.
percentage, right? So I saw one for my brother. I had the different subjects like French, math, English, all that stuff. And it had 3 columns, and it was like progressing well, progressing satisfactorily, not progressing well enough, or I can't remember the term.
Yeah.
Right? And different check marks. And I was like, are these how they mark the kids nowadays? But my brother told me it was just like a little progress report. Right, the
Right.
actual report card will come out later. But yeah, they're definitely sheltering kids. I understand that you actually know somebody who works in schools, and they've told you some examples.
Yeah, I guess I do know her technically. It's my sister's friend, and my sister was telling us the story. She's a teacher. And, okay, so a couple things I remember is, one, you can't apparently use red pen anymore, which, I don't know, this is kind of skewed because the teacher, that you'll see this on Twitter later, the teacher wrote in red pen on your brother's thing. So, I don't know, maybe that's certain schools.
She was heated.
But anyway, my sister's friend who was telling her about this says they can't use red pen because it's negative. Because the color red is negative. So they can't use it. Another thing is you can't fail kids. You can't give them an F. You can't give them below 50%. You can't do that.
Because every kid is a genius. Every kid's special.
Yeah.
No kid is gonna fail.
But like, isn't this like, I don't know. I think like it's kind of like counterproductive to like kids growing. You know what I mean? Because I think you got to like fail a little in life to grow as a person and boost character and this and that or whatever, right? You got to learn because like, hey, it's not all roses. You know what I mean? When you get out into the real world,
Exactly. Think of how much we failed, and look how charismatic we are on this podcast, right? If we were just super successful the whole way through, this would be a bore to listen to.
we probably also wouldn't have to do a podcast because we'd be making money elsewhere.
Yeah, that's true. But it is ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think things should be like a little tougher. It shouldn't be so coddling. It should be, a little more like, I don't know, cut and dry with the kids, I guess you could say, right?
It kind of ties into the whole of like, every kid gets a medal type thing.
Yeah, participation medals, this and that, which I think is like, fair when you're 4 years old. But like after that, it should be about winning and losing. Like I played sports growing up as a kid. I played hockey for most of my life, and I played lacrosse and a little bit of baseball. And I don't think we ever got any participation stuff. I don't think that was a thing. If we lost, we lost. That was it. Or if we made it to a championship game and we lost, we would get a smaller trophy.
Yeah,
as being like semifinals, and the other kids would get the big trophies. But you still knew, like, hey, those kids won, we didn't. We got these dinky little trophies, and they got the nice ones.
It's sort of a delicate issue, because I understand, right, it's all about having fun and stuff. But, there's definitely a difference between winning and losing. But you don't want to take the kids who lost and just, pummel into them, be like, you guys lost, the other team kicked your ass.
No,
and,
I don't think it needs to be like that.
Yeah, you don't want to crush these poor kids' spirits. But, with school, this is a totally different realm from sports. This is actually, your academic well-being, if you would. Now, if a kid does poorly on a test, you don't want to give him a giant F on the paper and be like, "You suck. You didn't do hard enough." I think a lot of it comes back to, did the kid put the effort in, right? Because you can fail, but the kid's really trying and they're struggling. Maybe they are having trouble, right? And they need a little more assistance. That's one thing, right? If the kid's putting in effort. But if you got the kid just phoning it in and being like, "Nah, fam." That's completely different. You can tell this kid, you failed because you're being a bum. You're not trying. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I don't know. I think like with the sports or even in school or whatever, I think it's important to understand winning and losing because you're not always going to win. And there nowadays it's like a kid doesn't win something, you know what I mean? He cries. Or, he gets mad, he gets upset about it. Oh, what do you mean I didn't get that either? Well, it's like, well, you didn't win. So why should the kid who won or the team who won and the team who didn't and the team who didn't win why should they get the same thing? Why should the outcome be the same? That's not the way anything in life works. So why are we teaching them that at a young age?
Because then you're not going to bother to try. You're going to be like, why am I going to put in the effort if it's going to be the same thing?
Exactly.
Imagine if these younger kids were like, you can never fail.
Great.
Why am I going to put in any effort?
Yeah, and everybody will just feel like they're entitled to things.
Exactly. I think a lot of it comes down to how your parents approach it, right? Like in the picture they'll see of the self-assessment thing, my parents didn't even bother filling it in.
Yeah.
Right? And there's this stuff where they'll be like, what is this bullshit?
Yeah.
Who cares about this crap? Right?
Yeah.
It's more just like, come on, dude, you should know better than writing nah, fam. Give me a break. But I mean, I don't know, got a chuckle out of me.
Yeah, I know. I had a good laugh about it too. I thought it was pretty funny. It's just I don't know. I think it's funny that he wrote "Nah, fam." I'm gonna stand firm on that. I think it's pretty funny.
I think it's funny, but
because I think the self-assessment thing is ridiculous.
I think it's funny, but
I think at that age, I think he's old enough where they don't need to be doing self-assessments. I think it's time to actually start, teaching them things.
Well, it's like
when you're 8, 7. Okay, fine. Do a self-assessment. How are you doing in school? Would you bring your materials? He's 12 years old. Bring materials. What? What do you bring? Your pen and your ruler, your protractor? It's ridiculous. I don't know.
It is a little ridiculous,
like
but I think it all comes back to, come on, that nothing good is going to come out of writing "Nah, fam." Besides giving us something to talk about on our podcast.
Yeah, no, definitely nothing good's gonna come out of it, and he's obviously doing it to get a rise out of his friends. I'm sure, you know what I mean, to make them laugh and
right. Look at them and be like, "Oh, look what I
wrote.
Look
what I wrote." Nah, fam.
Yeah, because he's got one friend in his class, one particular friend where they kind of talk a lot, and I'm sure they're disrupting the class. And I was like, "Oh, do you sit next to him?" And he's like, "No, he's all the way on the other side of the class." And I'm like,
yeah, there's a reason for that.
The teacher did that specifically because I'm sure you're disruptive.
I remember in grade school, it was early on, grade 1 maybe. A really good friend of mine, me and him were in the same class, and he was he was just a shithead, and he was so disruptive that the teacher slowly moved him like further and further away from everybody. So like his desk was like with everybody, and then it ended up by the teacher's desk, and then it ended up like there was like a little hallway out to the door. And ended up there, and then he ended up outside of the class at one day at one point. Yeah, like he was like his desk was outside of the classroom door, which I don't know. I think it's funny. I think kids are going to be disruptive and whatnot, and you almost can't even blame it on the kid so much. You know what I mean? It's at a young age like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of it kind of comes down to the way society handles stuff now, right? The whole everybody's a winner. You can't use red pen. Nobody can fail. But I think it's been getting progressively like softer, if you will, like because when my sister was in elementary school, and then I think like maybe grade 1 or whatever, she was struggling a little bit, and my mom was like, "Well, can't she like redo grade 1?"
Yeah,
right, to sort of have a better grasp of stuff before she moves on. I wonder if she'll ever listen to the podcast. I'll know because she'll send me a message, be like, "You're telling them I was failing," and they told my mom, "No, we don't do that."
I don't understand why that's an issue, though, especially if the parent wants it. It's like, hey, my daughter's really struggling. I think she should redo this for her own good. Like, it's for her own benefit.
But instead, they're just like, no. But there's no
let's just push her through.
There's no in between, right? I was actually talking to my brother just yesterday about like how it works when you go to high school and like you need to take certain courses in certain years and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was kind of telling him, because this came on the back of the whole fam thing, and I was kind of telling him, like, elementary school, your grades really don't matter. It's just kind of, do you understand stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's all just about memorizing stuff. And then high school, it starts to matter more because, like, if you fail, you got to redo. Like, they'll actually fail you. You got to be, like, pretty bad to fail.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think in most cases,
you got to redo. And then you may end up in summer school.
Right? I think in most cases, if you're, like, kind of on the cusp, the teacher will just let you pass.
Yeah, if you're a good student, too, and they're kind of just like, all right, yeah, whatever.
Right? If you're trying. I think it all comes down to...
If they see you're putting in effort, at least, right?
See you're putting in the effort.
Some people just aren't good at certain things, and then that's that, right?
One thing that really stressed me out when I was younger, not that I was like, studying hardcore, I was definitely lazy. I was more on the fam side of things.
Yeah.
Was right in grade 9, at least in Ontario here, this is how the school system works. There's 2 tiers of classes. There's academic and applied level classes through grade 9 and 10.
Yeah.
Then once you hit grade 11, the academic classes flow into university level courses, and then the applied classes flow into college level courses. And if you've been taking applied through the first 2 years, now you're going to have to really struggle to try to make up courses to go to university if you want to.
Oh, yeah,
as opposed to college. And then even in grade 11, your grades will matter more than 9 and 10 because you can apply to college or university in the beginning of grade 12, and they'll look at your grade 11 marks to know if you can get in earlier, right? So if you change your career path, like, it's going to affect the courses you need to take. Like, as an example, I wanted to be an architect when I was younger, but I didn't take physics in grade 11. So now it's grade 12. I've decided, I want to be an architect. They're like, oh, well, you need physics in grade 12, so you got to go back, take grade 11 physics.
Right.
And it's like, man, thankfully it was just the one course that I needed.
Yeah.
But if it was a program where you needed multiple courses and I didn't take either of them, like, let's say you change your mind, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and you need multiple courses. Now you don't have enough time to make up these courses. You're going to have to go back to high school an extra year. And I find it's really tough. There's like a lot of pressure to figure out what do you want to do with your life when you're so young.
17 years old,
right?
16 years old, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with the rest of your life.
Yeah, think back to 16 or 17. That's only like 4 or 5 years above my brother's age. Nah, fam. Like, how are you supposed to know what you want to do?
Yeah, I know. I want to be a rock star. That's all I ever wanted.
I think we talked about this on the first episode.
Did we?
I wanted to be a magician.
Oh, yeah, we did. Oh, boy, we're already running out of ideas. We're circling back.
We're cycling back.
We just hope people forgot about the first episode, so.
We're in, like, self-syndication.
Did I ever tell you I think I could fight a bear? All right, moving on here. I got another, story I read from a news article the other day. So a woman was in Walmart and with her son. I think his son was 3 years old or whatever. This is in Winnipeg. So she goes into the Walmart, and the kid's got to go to the bathroom, so she takes him to the bathroom, like the family bathroom, which I think is just like a stall kind of thing, right? So she goes in, and she gets locked inside. Door won't open, whatever, right? No. So she's kind of freaking out, whatever. So she calls the store, and says like, hey, I'm locked in the bathroom, whatever. So apparently, the person on the other line or on the other end of the phone, the Walmart employee, kind of laughed, kind of like gave a little chuckle, like, haha, stuck in the bathroom, whatever, right? So they came over, they couldn't figure out how to get the door open. 10 minutes later, they called the manager over, he couldn't figure it out. So they said, okay, we're gonna call a locksmith in to come get you out or whatever. And so she was like, well, why don't you call the fire department? And they were like, no, like, we can't do that. We can't call the fire department. Like, you can if you want, but we can't do it. So she called the fire department. Hour and a half later, she's out.
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half she was in there. So they end up getting her out of the bathroom. And that's it. So, of course, afterwards, she's complaining, I should be compensated for my stress, for this, for that, whatever, right? But while she was in the bathroom, she decided to take a selfie with her son, where the son is smiling and she has like this, like, oh, I'm sad, pouty face. She has this like face on. It's like, oh yeah, it looks like you're real stressed in there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like, what's funny is just like the outrage of it afterwards, right? Like, oh, I should be compensated for that stress I went through getting locked in the bathroom. If I got locked in the bathroom, I'd just be like, oh man, I just got locked in the bathroom.
It's a rough
is what
day,
it is.
right? But
Exactly. Is it that bad?
to expect to be compensated, I don't know.
Yeah, there's, I should be compensated for the stress I felt in there, even though she's in there snapping selfies with her kid, like they're having a fantastic day.
It is bizarre. Like,
yeah.
do you know what kind of compensation she was like seeking out?
No,
Did
she
it say?
just she was just demanding things.
Probably putting up like a tweet storm about it.
Yeah, exactly. She was talking to the local news, but like what bothered me about this was like the local news was on her side. You know what I mean? Like the
Oh, of course.
whatever reporter or whatever newspaper or whatever it was article. They were like all on her side, like, and she was locked in there for an hour and 30 minutes. It's just ridiculous. And the person on the other end of the phone laughed. Oh my god! Like
The horror.
yeah, relax, lady. Okay, they're not gonna compensate you or anything. You got locked in the bathroom. The door malfunctioned. Stuff happens. Get over it.
Yeah, it's not like they intentionally locked her in there.
No,
They,
if they did
don't-
that, then okay, fine.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened. The
Right.
door got messed
and
up.
every week, the fire department's like, man, people get locked in here quite a
I know,
bit.
right? So the one employee just locking people in the bathroom.
Yeah, having a bad day. Speaking of compensation, that actually reminds me of a news story I read earlier this week. I don't know if you heard about this, but Monique has been complaining about Netflix. Did you hear about this?
I don't even know who Monique is.
She's like the stand-up comedy. She won an Oscar a couple years back for, I can't remember the name of the movie. But she's like a black woman, like stand-up comic, right? And you're like, whoa, why are you just calling her as a black woman? It pertains to the story. So she has a stand-up special coming out, and the fact that you haven't heard of her kind of plays right into my theory on this.
Perfect.
And Netflix offered her $500,000 for her special, right,
Yeah.
to go on Netflix, which I'm like, whoa, that's big money, right? Apparently not big enough because, she has some clout. She's an Oscar winner, but Dave Chappelle and Amy Schumer and
Yeah.
I can't remember the other name in the article. Chris Rock.
Chris Rock,
somebody
yeah,
else.
he got a big Netflix deal too. Yeah,
They were offered millions. Like I think Amy Schumer got offered like 12 million or 13
I know.
million.
Chris Rock was 60 million for 3.
60 million.
Yeah, so 20 million
Wow.
each. I'm assuming Dave Chappelle's roughly in around that.
Dave
range
Chappelle's got to
as
be
well.
up there. I think
Yeah.
Amy Schumer was like 13 million,
Jeez.
and Monique got offered 500,000,
Okay.
which is like big money, right? Still, but not big compared to these other people. And she
Yeah.
was like, "We got to boycott Netflix. They have a gender
Gender-
bias and
gender
they have a color
equality."
bias." And it's like I've seen people taking the argument down online. It's like, well, if they have a gender bias, then why did Amy Schumer get 12 million, 13 million?
Yeah.
If they've got a color bias, why did Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock get 60 million? I have to imagine
Yeah.
that's probably the highest payday for a stand-up comic on there at all.
Yeah, like, okay, oh boy, here. Okay, are we getting into this? The gender wage gap or whatever?
We tackle the tough topics.
Okay, so where do I begin here without offending everybody?
I don't know if it's possible.
All right, I'll give it a whirl. So in a situation, okay, yeah, but no, in a situation like that, like, I don't know who this woman is. I got no idea. She's not as popular as Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock
Yeah,
or Amy Schumer.
She's got some esteem, right?
Yeah,
She
we'll
won-
leave Amy
she won
Schumer
an
out of
Oscar.
this just because, like, she's another woman who ended up getting a lot of money. So let's just say the men versus this woman,
Yeah.
Monique. So, but, like, the whole idea is Netflix is looking at it as, like, okay, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, they're big stand-up comedians. If we put them on our thing, we may get more people. You know what I mean? Okay, we'll get more
Definitely.
subscribers, more people on our streaming service. This Monique, we may not get as many. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's like that's the breakdown of their business plan, I'm assuming.
Right, it's more like market value. It doesn't have anything
Exactly.
to do with gender or race or anything
At
like
that point, it doesn't. No, it's
No.
just kind of like, well, these guys are much more popular than you are. So that's why they're getting this much and you're getting this much. It's as simple as that.
Right, you could make the argument, though, that like Amy Schumer got like 12, 13 million, which is a big payday, but not as much as like Dave Chappelle
Yeah.
and Chris Rock.
But
right?
at the end of the day, I think
But I
Dave
think
Chappelle
it-
and Chris Rock bring more to the table
I think it
than
comes
Amy
back
Schumer.
to market value as well. I think she
Yeah.
put up a bit of a stink afterwards too about like, oh, I didn't get enough money compared to all these other people, and it's because I'm a woman. I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't
Or
quote
maybe
me
it's
on
because
it, but
maybe it's because your agent sucks. Hire a better agent.
right? It kind of is similar to the whole thing with where Mark Wahlberg was,
Okay, yeah, I was about to bring this up.
right,
And
made
Michelle
like a ton
Williams.
more money,
Yeah.
right, than
Well,
Michelle Williams for the
but
reshoot.
I don't know. The way I kind of looked at it was just like he held out.
Yeah,
He was like, I want 1.5 million and I ain't coming back for any reshoots unless I get that. So they're like, God damn it, fine, we got to pay him. Whereas her on the other end was kind of just like, oh yeah, I'll do the reshoots, no problem.
yeah, of course.
Of course, they're going to try to take advantage of the situation.
Right.
If it went the other way around, she says, I want 1 million, and he just says, oh yeah, sure, I'll do it. I'm sure they would have flipped it that way too.
Right, and it wouldn't have been a story.
Oh, it would not have even been close to the story.
No.
People would have been like, you go, girl.
yeah, of course.
You get it. Yeah, so, I don't know. And he ended up donating that $1.5 million
Yeah.
to like the Time's Up
yeah, I read
gender
about that as well.
equality group. I don't know. All these groups are just merging. It's just one big blob now.
I wonder if he was like, damn, I really got to donate this money, or these people are not going to get off my ass.
Oh, for sure. He was just
Right?
like, "Oh man, I gotta get out. I gotta get out of this. Take the money. I don't even care." Like,
Yeah, it's not worth the bad PR.
it's not worth it. And now he looks like not a hero, but Oh, good job, Mark Wahlberg.
yeah, you're the best.
Yeah.
It's all publicity for him, right?
That's all.
But I don't blame him. If I was him, I'd be trying to take advantage of the situation too. So for any listeners that aren't
Yeah,
familiar
absolutely.
with the situation, was after all the stuff came out earlier this year about Kevin Spacey for the movie All the Money in the World. Kevin Spacey was originally in the movie. Then they wrote him out of the movie. Well, they didn't write him out of the movie. They replaced him with Christopher Plummer, a different actor. And it took like 8 weeks or so to reshoot the parts that he was in. And I think Christopher Plummer actually got nominated for like Golden Globe or something.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Right. Which is pretty impressive considering it was like a short time frame got him in there, right?
Yeah.
So they had to reshoot some of the scenes using the other actors like Mark Wahlberg, Michelle Williams. So you can't do the movie if Mark Wahlberg doesn't come back, right? Because they don't want Kevin Spacey in the movie. So
You don't have
It's
much
kinda-
choice. If
it's
he's
kinda
holding out,
fair,
you kind
right?
of have to pay him.
right,
Yeah.
he should be compensated for his time.
She should have done the same thing. That's
She should have. I understand, being like, we want to be easy to work with. You're just going to be like, oh, no, let's just redo it. Maybe you had a good time working on the movie. Maybe just,
Yeah,
you're
you,
doing
you
it
think this movie's
to
going to be really
to
good,
be
so
kind, right?
for you it's more about the art. You're like, I
Yeah.
want this movie to be done because I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, you don't want
I
to
want to be
jeopardize
put
it.
Exactly.
But no, you can't really fault Mark Wahlberg for being like, I want my money,
No, I don't see that as being his fault at all.
right?
I don't think it is.
It's
I don't
sorta-
think it should be him that has to donate the 1.5 million. It should be the studio or whoever who should donate another 1.5 million.
It's almost the inverse of the Monique situation because where she's like, I want my money, but she's not really in the position of leverage. Like Netflix could probably just be like, yeah,
Right.
take a
Where-
special
yeah.
somewhere else.
Where are you gonna go?
Try to go
Yeah.
get 500K from HBO.
Yeah,
Right? Or somebody. It's almost the opposite.
yeah. I think we should just stop it right there. I don't think we should go any further with this gender equality stuff mostly because we don't even know what we're talking about.
Of course, you could say that about pretty much everything on the podcast.
Yeah, we got to make that quite clear. We don't know what we're talking about pretty much all the time we're talking.
And people have some questions about us and our talking, actually.
Oh,
We
nice.
got another
one?
We got another listener email.
Ooh.
The second in the history of the ScruffCast.
The second. All right.
So we're averaging about one every 3 episodes, if you will. So we had a listener from the Toronto area write us in. Hi, guys. Love your podcast. Here's a burning question. Burning. So
All right.
we need to answer this. I need to know, are you guys brothers? Your voices sound similar. Can't wait to hear your next podcast. Well, by the time you hear it, you're going to have your question answered.
Do we really sound that similar?
So I had never thought about it, but I've had a couple people that I know who listen to the podcast actually mention it to me.
First off, let's also say we're not brothers.
No, we're not.
Just friends.
Just friends.
We're just friends. No funny business going on here.
Unless by funny you mean our hilarious podcast,
Yeah.
of course. No, and I had never thought about the fact that maybe we have like similar inflections in our voice when we're talking.
I always thought I sounded way cooler than you did.
See, I'd have
I'm not
to
gonna
dis-
lie.
I'd have,
Like I had a
I'd have
much
to
manlier,
disagree.
manlier, cool voice, but hearing myself back, oh man, I don't.
Another thing was on the episode a couple episodes back, when we talk about when I ran into the Japanese people want to take a picture.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to the episode, these people are like, "What's going on? There's no context to this."
Yeah.
You say the word "winners" and you put a bit of an accent on it, and a lot of people thought it was me. It was actually me who said it.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Which
Yeah.
kind of sparked the whole thing because I was asking some people I know who've listened, "Oh, do we sound similar?" And apparently we do sound really similar. Enough so this person thought we were brothers.
Yeah.
Which no, we're not.
So yeah, to answer the question, no, we are not brothers, and hopefully you guys can all start telling our voices apart soon enough.
But if you have more questions, you can email us. And Dan, where will they email us?
At scruffcast@gmail.com. Scruffcast@gmail.com.
And you can follow us on Twitter at ScruffCast, SCRUFFcast. And I think that's going to be it for this week, Dan, unless you got any other closing thoughts.
No, I think I'm done. It is Sunday, by the way, and the Patriots game started 25 minutes ago, so I think we will shut this podcast down and turn that on.
Yep.
And maybe we'll talk about this next week.
Maybe. Well, we're going to have the Super Bowl upcoming to talk about, so stay tuned.
It's gonna be crazy!
All right. Later. No bueno.